My name is Bryan Johnson. I've been spending millions of dollars creating an anti-aging protocol. So we looked through all the scientific evidence and we put all the science into me.
Bryan Johnson, the tech entrepreneur who spends $2 million a year to not die, just recently released on all his social that he is the healthiest person in the world. And Bryan finally explained why his perfect blueprint diet is vegan. He's emphasized many times just how much care he puts into his diet, saying every calorie has to fight for its life.
Every calorie has had to fight for its life. Every calorie has to fight for its life. Every calorie has had to fight for its life.
So I was really excited to see the rock solid science behind his diet.
We've gone through all the scientific evidence. We've combed through all the best studies.
In his very long Twitter thread on why he doesn't eat meat, he listed 10 different studies looking at meat consumption and its effect on longevity, diabetes, heart disease, cancer, and even dementia. 10 whole studies sounds very impressive, but what kind of studies do you think these are? Maybe they took two groups of people who were the same age, the same height, the same weight, and so on, and gave them the same meals, but one group got meat and the other group got beans. The studies were something like that, right? Not at all. Every single one of these 10 studies relies on questionnaires for its data. Here's an example of one of these questionnaires from Cambridge University. Do you really think you can accurately remember what your average use of bacon was for all of last year? Further, did you eat your bacon in a cheeseburger with fries or as part of a salad? They don't know that. Back in 1994, a study claimed that hot dogs increase brain cancer risk in children.
They asked the people, did you eat a hot dog? They didn't ask them, did you put it in a bun? Did you put ketchup on it? That's important because it may be that it's not the hot dog at all that's causing this increased risk of cancer. Maybe it's the bun, maybe it's the ketchup, maybe it's the mustard.
Think about the type of people who eat the most hot dogs. Do you think they're the type to eat a hot dog with wheatgrass juice and a salad after their morning yoga, or do they eat it with fries and a Coke after a cigarette? This issue is a well-known fatal flaw of questionnaires. It's called the healthy user bias. Who's the type of person to eat less meat? The average person who listens to conventional healthy advice, exercises, doesn't smoke, they make sure to get good sleep, they don't drink too much, and they don't do drugs, and of course, they listen to their doctor and try to lean towards a more healthy, plant-based diet.
Processed meats cause cancer, and red meat probably does too.
After all, we've been told meat is terrible for health for decades. So, the type of person to do healthy stuff is much more likely to eat less meat. The type of person in these studies who's answering, I ate red meat every single day for all of last year, is more likely to be the type of person who doesn't listen to health advice and is eating that meat in the form of burgers with fries, microwaved lasagna, Denny's Grand Slams, and they probably wash it down with a Coke. Just in 2023, Harvard claimed that red meat is linked to diabetes. This study was heavily criticized for its use of questionnaires. The participants were asked to guesstimate how many times they ate certain categories of food for the entire previous year. In the red meat category, they included lasagna and casseroles. Are we really supposed to believe that a steak that doesn't have any sugar is going to give you diabetes? Remember, all 10 of those papers that Bryan brought up on his Twitter thread were very weak questionnaire-based studies. The fact that you can't make any reliable conclusions based on these types of studies is old news, and it's well known.
Data may be crappy.
The glaring flaws with these studies were even laid out in a vegan versus omnivore debate on Joe Rogan's podcast way back in 2018.
Meat has been perceived as unhealthy for a long time. In those observational studies, the people who eat more red meat are also smoking more, they have higher body mass index, they're less physically active. So how do you know that it's the red meat that's causing the problem and not those other things? You don't.